In light of recent events, but I was already kind of planning on talking about medical stuff that you should be stocking up on. Just medical supplies, things that you should be getting prepared for, because at some point you may not be able to go to the store and get what you need. And you may not be able to go to the hospital to get the treatment that you need. You may have to provide the treatment yourself or bring a medical professional to you. I'm going to walk you through 15 items that you really should be stocking up on. This will hopefully give you an idea. Some of these things are relatively unique. Some of them are a little obscure, so you're probably going to hear some new things that you probably haven't heard before. But in light of what has been happening this weekend with the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, of course, you should be getting these. I just got this. This is a PSA dagger. The nice thing is that it is compatible with Glocks and such. So I just got that. It's been coming in for the last week or so, so eventually kind of came in, but obviously purchased that before all this went down. But, you know, it's important. I'll just put out there that it's important to have Glock compatible boomsticks out there, right? So, all right, without further ado, let's jump into things that you should definitely have and you should be stocking up on. A lot of you guys have heard me harp on this, but Pepto Bismol. You don't need to get the name brand. This is Equate. This is Walmart brand. Walgreens has off brands. Other stores have off brands. You need bismuth tablets. Okay, bismuth tablets. Bismuth is very similar like silver in the sense that it's a metal that when it comes in contact with bacteria and stuff like that, it kills it, right? So if you have a digestive tract infection of some sort, or you get something growing in your gut that shouldn't be growing there, you take some bismuth tablets and it kills it right away. Now, it's going to kill all the good stuff in there too, so be aware of that before you get into your bismuth. But this kills Giardia. There's studies out there that I've read, and I've used this to treat Giardia. I've gotten Giardia a whole bunch of times with the sulfuric burps and everything like that, and I've treated it with this. When I was overseas, I got Giardia frequently, and I would just start chewing on these tablets, and basically I'd take a 2-dose, and I'd wait like 10, 15 minutes, I'd take another dose, I'd wait another 10, 15 minutes, take another dose, and by the course of an hour, my stomach had settled, and I wouldn't get sick from it. So that's something to definitely have. Yes, treat your water, but when I was backpacking on the Appalachian Trail, for much of the trail, I carried an iodine bottle with iodine tablets that I rarely used. And I made sure I carried Pepto Bismol tablets, and I mostly just drank out of the streams. And I didn't get sick, so I didn't need to use my Pepto Bismol tablets. That was my backup. If I did get sick from drinking something that I shouldn't have, I could have just taken Pepto Bismol tablets and I'd be fine. So definitely something that's important because diarrhea and those type of diseases and stuff like that that are waterborne, a lot of people infect themselves with Giardia. A lot of people say like you'll get Giardia from the water. Actually, most often people get Giardia from themselves and from basically their poo. Okay, not washing your hands. You can limit your Giardia exposure by just washing your hands. Speaking of washing your hands, you should definitely have hand soap. Lots of hand soap. But that's a whole nother thing. I'm going to talk about iodine. Having iodine, this is prep for like if you do need to cut into somebody, or if you have a large cut or a large abrasion that you need to sterilize. Iodine, friends, it's old school, but it works, right? You need this kind of stuff to sterilize things. If you're going to cut, you need to sterilize the whole area around the wound and make sure that that you are careful not to infect the person that you're opening up. Along the same lines, you need lots and lots of isopropyl alcohol. 90% is better, 70% is cheaper though. And this stuff will work very good for sterilizing things, sterilizing utensils, sterilizing scalpels, and anything else you may need. If you're going to dig in with forceps or something like that, sterilize them first. You can, use a lighter that's not as foolproof as filling up a cup with this and then dropping your utensils in the cup. You know 100% sure that everything is dead. You are really taking care to make sure that you don't get anyone sicker than they already are. Now this one's a little bit unusual. You don't usually hear this one out there. Laxatives. Because I honestly haven't had this problem, but I know people who have. And they said, you need to get some laxatives for people who may be eating something that they're not used to, or their digestive tract is just not working the way that it should. And getting stopped up can be extremely painful. And if you don't have access to medical care, you'd wish that you had laxatives. So this is not hard to get. You can also just stock up other things like Epsom salts. Epsom salts are really useful for a lot of other things. They're good fertilizer. They're good for soaking your feet and stuff like that. Epsom salts is a really great thing to have, but you know, just pick up some cheap bottles of laxatives. And hey, if you want to do a prank on somebody in your crew, you know, it's good for laughs too. Okay, this is a little bit unusual one. For cheap, you can get, I'm going to pin all of these things down in the comment section down below, or something similar, or I'll just put the name down. If it's better to get it from like Walmart or some other place, I'll just put the name down. You can find it yourself elsewhere. But droppers. Water treatment. When you need to put a couple drops of bleach, these are super useful. When you need to flush a wound and you fill one of these up with water and you're squirting. Now this isn't for like a big wound or something like that, but that's definitely something there. There's all sorts of reasons why you may need a dropper or a mini squirt into somewhere, and having a bunch of these. This is something that I think a lot of people have forgotten to stock up on. So you get a box of cheap droppers, which are like so inexpensive, it's silly right now. You're going to have something that other people need. And when they can't go to the store, the hardware store, to get these or order them on Amazon, you're the only one who's going to have them. So I suggest stocking up on those a little bit. We've talked about these before quite a bit. But skin staplers with removers on there, these are a really great idea to have. If you're all into doing sutures yourself, cool. But there's a reason why medical professionals use skin staplers. Now, you can't get medical grade skin staplers, but you can get practice ones that happen to be sterilized. You can get ones for pets that happen to be sterilized, and they're up to medical grade, generally speaking. But if you want to buy the approved medical, stuff, then you're going to pay extra. But this is essentially what they're using, and having these on hand is a great thing. Before you start suturing anyone up or skin stapling them, okay, make sure you understand how to treat a wound, okay? If someone has a deep wound and you just go and start closing it up, that's not how you handle that, okay? So make sure you understand what you're doing. I recommend having the supplies and then having someone who's medically trained to use the supplies, okay? When things go sideways, there's going to be still the same number of medical professionals out there, except they're not going to be able to eat, and they're not going to be able to... It's going to be easy to recruit medical professionals onto your crew who will work for food, right? So medical supplies will disappear. Medical personnel will still be around for the most part, especially if you save them, right? Anyway, lots and lots of latex gloves. I'm sorry, nitrile gloves. Some people have latex allergies, so the medical standard is nitrile gloves. So have a whole bunch of these. I may have gotten a whole bunch of these around the time of the cough, or slightly before it. I don't know. I forget. But those disappeared off the shelf, and I remembered I have a whole case downstairs. I'm all set. All right, so you've probably heard of the Ibuprofen, the Advil Tylenol combination. If you haven't, basically you can take ibuprofen, and then you can take your Tylenol, basically, and you can take regular dose here, regular dose here. You don't have to cut the dose in half for each one. You can take a full dose and a full dose. They don't interact with each other, but they both provide pain relief. So you really should have a whole bunch of these, and this stuff is so dirt cheap in the US. Same thing with ibuprofen. You get giant bottles. This is a small bottle. You can get big giant bottles of these things, and it's good to have them on hand, you know, because you never know when people are going to have aches and pains, and if you need to make it so that somebody's not in as much pain as they are, that's going to be a real help. Along that line, Lidocaine. Definitely get Lidocaine. This is topical anesthesiologist or whatever, you know, analgesic. That's the word. It's right there. Lidocaine, you can't get more than like 4% strength here in the US, but having cream, topical cream that you can, if people have dental issues that, you know, before you have to operate on them or something like that, you can't really get Novocaine over the counter that I'm aware of, but you can get Lidocaine, and you can rub it into the gums to numb things up, to make things a little more tolerable. If someone has a pain, I actually popped this open because I sunburned myself pretty bad earlier, and I was in pain. This helped a lot. You're going to wish you had some of this stuff out there. Just think about it. Lidocaine, this is Bengay Lidocaine. You can get up to 4%, generally speaking. You definitely want to have that stocked up. Ace bandages, this is not name brand once again. These are just elastic bandages. This is going to hold your gauze or your sterile dressings in place. These are reusable, but these are super, super important. Make sure you have these. You should have these in your kits that you're plugging holes with. So your IFACs and all that kind of stuff like that should have a bunch of these in there to hold sterile dressings. You can get the Israeli bandage, but Israeli bandage is basically KLEX with an ace bandage attached to each other. But you can get them a whole lot cheaper if you just buy the ace bandages and you buy KLEX separately. So definitely get a whole bunch of these. They're not expensive at all, and this will be a lifesaver down the road, and you can definitely trade it. And then with that said, KLEX or cotton gauze patches, you can get different things. I like KLEX because it's rolls and it's efficient and it's cheap. You can get these things individually wrapped so that they're nice and sterile, and then you can plug things that need to be plugged. You can put them on top of wounds that are leaking, and you can treat people. You know that if you have an injury, you go through a lot of this. So you should buy these in cases. You just need lots and lots and lots of these. You need lots of gauze. You need lots of everything to treat people who are injured. Now, before you put the KLEX on or the gauze, you need to stop the bleeding. Oh, look, bleed stop. This is the cheap route. This is not the good route, okay? This is actually not bad for today. If you're around people who are working and stuff like that, and you just might need to stop the bleed in an emergency fashion, you can just go ahead and do this kind of stuff. If you're just having these packets just sitting in your car or whatever else like that, you throw this on top of a bleeding wound and it will coagulate. Now, if it's gushing, that's not going to work, okay? So this stuff is not great, and it's not great to get it in the wound, but if it's like something that you're not going to send somebody to the emergency room with, this is a good thing. You can save somebody's life, especially if they're prone to bleeding and stuff like that. The better thing to get, and what you need to have in your IFACs, is actually some good quick clot. You want quick clot. It's fundamentally different than this, and then it's also impregnated into gauze. So basically you have the gauze strip that you can poke into, like if there's a hole in somebody and it's gushing, you can take this and push it down into the source of the bleed to get it to stop bleeding, right? You need to get it to stop bleeding. Quick clot saves lives. This is what the U.S. military uses. definitely have this stuff. There's some other stuff out there that you can't get, like the syringes that they stick into holes, and then they push the absorbent pads out of the syringe kind of thing. You can't get that without a prescription. So I don't know a way around that. This is the next best thing, I think, where you take this, open up the package, push it into the hole or the wound to the source of the bleeding, and this generally will stop that bleed pretty good. If it's like an artery or something like that, then you should have this on hand. Tourniquets, right? These aren't my ready deployed ones. I know these aren't prepped and stuff like that. These are just ones I have in my bin because you can never have too much of this. Now these are both tourniquets. This is name brand North American Rescue, which is the gold standard. Have these, of course. If you're using this as an emergency thing, that should be prepped, shouldn't be in the plastic wrapper and stuff like that, because you need to be able to deploy it quickly. But having these, having high quality stuff out there, there'll be a link down below. If you're not familiar with how to use those things, these are the SWAT T tourniquets. And these are super simple because they're like a giant elastic stretchy band, and you just start wrapping it tight around somebody's arm, upper arm. Of course, you do upper arm, and watch some videos. Go watch Bear Independent. Get training, hands-on training if you possibly can, but definitely have tourniquets on hand. These are a little more idiot-proof. These are still mostly idiot-proof. Just make sure you get these tight enough, and that goes for all tourniquets. Do them tighter than you think you have to. Like, people don't make them tight enough. Do them tighter. But definitely having some tourniquets stocked up is a good idea. This is a dissection kit. And you say, Steve, why do I need a dissection kit? A dissection kit, or a practice surgical kit, where you have scalpels and you have forceps and you have other tools that you need for doing a surgery. Is this the best way to go? No, but if you buy the medical grade surgical stuff, it's going to be a lot more expensive, right? So you can get a dissection kit, you can get a practice kit out there for a lot cheaper. It's basically the same thing, not as good medical grade steel and all that kind of stuff like that. It's not as good, but it's pretty close, and it will get you through a few minor things that you need to get through, and it's better than not having anything at all. Pulse oximeter, right? Check your blood oxygen level. Very important. A lot of us got these things when the cough was going around, right? Because it's good to keep an eye on your blood oxygen level. That was one of the main things that people had to worry about. And also, of course, get stocked up on batteries for your devices, like the pulse oximeter. Make sure that you have batteries for it. And it's a really good idea to be, I know it's cheaper to get the regular batteries out there, but it's so hard to get cheap batteries. It's really good to start slowly moving all of your stuff over to rechargeable batteries. It will save you money in the long run, and especially with prices going up, having rechargeable batteries and a way to recharge the rechargeable batteries is preferable, right? So I'm slowly switching all my stuff over to rechargeable batteries, and that's kind of the long run idea of what I'm doing with that stuff. So this is not a comprehensive list on things to get stocked up on. These are the things that were kind of in my bin that were floating that kind of piqued my interest and said, I need to do something about that. So check those out. Let me know down in the comments down below other things that you think other people may have forgotten or may not think about stocking up on. That would be a good idea to stock up on. Post those down in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful to help you think along the lines of what to get stocked up on for medical emergencies, or when, medical facilities are not as available. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. Thanks for watching Poplar Prepper. I will see you guys again later.